Want to call to order the City Council meeting, March 7th, 2024, 501 Main Street, 5:30 PM. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have a roll call?
Crenshaw,
Here.
Walker,
Here.
Garcia, here. Altmans, Dade,
Here.
Andrews,
Here.
Tillman,
Here.
Bryant,
Here.
Greenwald,
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
Oh, I'm here. Sorry.
Same here.
I didn't hear.
All present.
Item number 4, Mayor's Correspondence. I have a small update about the hospital tonight. The interim city administrator, Dave Hinton, Public Works Director, Brian Carroll, Dave Bogner, and Carrie Klepper representing KEDC and myself were invited to tour the hospital by Dane Walling, representative for Insight. We will be going to Washington, D.C. for Southeast Iowa Days in April to meet with the government officials, and Keokuk has decided to make the rural emergency hospital our request for this community. According to Mr. Walling, the legislation to establish the rules and regulations for the REH has not been finalized, and they are waiting on some more clarity. When this is finished, Insight is ready to move forward. They are working with Carl A. Nelson out of Burlington and have received some of the renovation plans. I know everyone is eager to get the emergency room up and running. We are hoping by the end of the year, but that is not a promise. These things take time. I will continue to keep everyone in the know as soon as I have any information that is passed on to me. Please understand that I am just as anxious as you, and patience is not my strongest virtue. Continue to hope and pray with me for a speedy transition. As always, please eat, drink, and shop local. Be kind. Item number 5, citizens' request. If we have any citizens here that would like to speak, Keep your questions and comments to about 5 minutes. This is not really a question and answer session, but it is the time for you to let us know what you're needing. So if we have any citizens that would like to come forward, please do that now.
Dorothy Cackley, 620 J Street. In the agenda was your packet that is going to be presented to potential city administrator candidates. And I have a few things to say about the compensation and benefits section. It says the salary range is to be between 135,000 to 155,000, depending on qualifications, experience, IPERS retirement benefits, life, medical, dental, vision, holidays, paid time off, including sick and vacation provided. Cellular plans are provided, a vehicle stipend is available. And the requirement to live within the city limits within 6 months. I have done a little research. I called 8 different towns. 3 are below the population of Keokuk, and 5 are above the population of Keokuk. Is there anyone that did not get the email with this information? You have it or don't have it? Okay. I just have a thing to say about your email system. It came back as my initial email was rejected from the system, so I stopped in the middle of my second email only to have Mr. Tillman let me know he'd received his first one, so I did a third one that included the attachment with my survey results. It seems as though the salaries, annual salaries, are substantial, ranging from $128,000 through $201,000 within those towns that I surveyed. The thing to remember, some of the larger ones, have people that have been in the position that they are earning the high wage 21 and a half years, 26 years, 8 years, 10 years, and 30 years. So it's a long tenure that's reached the high salaries that are listed. I hold most credence in the Fort Madison statistic. They are a few hundred in population over Keokuk, and their new city person, city administrator, is salaried at $128,000. I would like to see us drop the bottom figure in the brochure, if you want to call it that, in the compensation and benefits section to lower than $135,000. To me, that tells me an applicant is looking and expecting to get at least $135,000 if they apply and are awarded the job. And I don't think we should be stuck in a position if they want a higher rate or feel they're higher qualified to have a higher rate, then their qualifications and their experience should carry them above a minimum. I would like to see you drop it to 125 to 150,000. We have to keep in mind that Mr. O'Donnell was here for 5 years to get up to his $142,000 salary that he had. And I'm also very concerned, it's not mentioned in here, but I know it should be a part of the benefits or whatever, a severance package upon either resigning or being fired from the position. 9 months is totally beyond reasonable from a taxpayer standpoint. The last administrator is going to be earning a paycheck from you until August. And it's just inconceivable. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Dorothy. Do we have anybody else? Moving on to item number 6, consent agenda. Minutes of the regular city council meeting and council workshop of February 15th, 2024. Minutes of the salary committee meeting of February 22, 2024. Resolution approving a liquor license from Dunnigan Shamrocks on the Mississippi LLC, 17 North 4th Street, Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service, effective March 8th, 2024. Resolution approving a liquor license for Site Food Mart, 1301 Main Street, Class E retail alcohol license, effective March 20th, 2024. Resolution approving a tax increment financing rebate for the State Central Bank, 1512 through 1514 Main Street for renovation. Resolution approving an urban revitalization tax exemption from James and Sherry Wilsey, 227 South 19th Street for a garage. Appointment of Dave Holland to the Airport Commission, fulfilling a term to expire October 20th, 2029. Appointment of Tracy Jones to the Grand Theater Commission, term to expire November 5th, 2027. Resignation of Ray Bradley Jr. from the Keokuk Human Rights Commission, effective immediately. A special event permit for Dunnigan Shamrocks on the Mississippi, 17 North 4th Street Alley, St. Patrick's Day Celebration Band, Sunday, March 17th, 2024, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Motion to pay bills and transfers listed in registers number 5391 through 5393. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, including the consent agenda?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, consider resolution allowing the mayor to enter into agreement with Impact 7G. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Authorize the mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with Impact 7G. Impact 7G will provide qualified environmental services to assist the city with the Brownfield Cleanup Grant implementation for the Plat 1 at 365 Carbide. Impact 7G will receive $211,000 for their scope of work. The agreement has been reviewed by Southeast Iowa Regional Planning to confirm that the scope of the work is in agreement and consistent with that in the grant. The staff recommends approval. Any more discussion?
Does this come out of grant money that they've received?
Yes, it's coming out of the 2 million brownfield grant.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Consider resolution, item number 8, consider resolution to approve Midwest Municipal Consulting LLC's city profile to aid in the search for a city administrator. At this point, I need to ask anyone that is considering applying for that or considering applying for the city administration, they need to leave the room, please.
I will not be applying for the position.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any discussion?
I think the point that Ms. Cackley brought up about the salary, just to do a little bit of looking at it here. I mean, it's what, 135 through 55 is the range that we had. And in the research that she provided for us, she's got 9 communities there. So for the sake of averaging all that together to paint a picture, it's $153,041 is the average. Now, if I take out Pleasant Hill, because that's Des Moines, so that's why that one is so high, that changes the average as she listed to 146,933. So the average is just slightly higher than our previous administrator in that position. So I don't think that that range is necessarily out of line, but I also don't disagree with, you know, maybe we change it to 130 to 145 for initial starting, just so that maybe there's clearer expectations. Because if someone sees a starting of 155, they might, you know, jump right to that spot. And I don't feel like myself, I'm ready to bring someone in at 155 to start.
Communities that are similar to our size right now are posting between 145,000 and 175,000 for starting.
Well, and you also need to look at the compensation. A lot of that depends, I mean, for them to get that, they're going to have to meet every one of our requirements that we've said we wanted. And we talked about this a lot when we were in the committee. And that was one of the things, is this is what we want. Obviously, if we settle on somebody or we decide to try somebody that doesn't meet some of our requirements, then they're not going to meet the salary range either. You know, and that's the thing. For them to get to even the 135, they're going to have all of our minimum requirements. And that's explained in all of this. And for that's, if they've got all that, then they should be worth that 135. And the fact that we're going to have to convince them to move from some other place, their family and everything else. What is it, Elizabeth said, we've got to make it appealing. You know, they've got to look at it and, hey, this is something I want to do. It can't be a lateral move because there's no benefit to them. If they're already making that, there's no reason to move and make a lateral move and spend all the cost and uproot the house. So we have to kind of make it appealing for that. But it also, because we've put all the requirements in, they have to have all of that for them to get the minimal.
I don't mind having the range go up to 150, but I agree, I'd like to see a lower starting point. I don't see any problem with it. If you feel like someone is more qualified, you don't start them at 120, you give them what they're worth in the range. However, I think if you have a lower starting rate, potentially we even open the door to some people who maybe are new to the city administrator position. And I think that we should be looking at all of our options instead of just a small scope.
So just for a little background, we did have a different salary range on the first draft that we sent the consultant company. And when she was here doing our interviews, she asked the personnel committee if that salary range was negotiable because we were too low and our expectations were not meeting what the other communities are offering. So we did adjust that per her advice. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it might have been like we started around 130, but I can go back and double check. But she said that was too low. And if we were expecting a person to uproot their family and move here within 6 months, we had to make it competitive.
I guess I'm confused as to why the starting point would change. Maybe if you lower the top end, but I don't know why the starting point would deter someone. If I know that I'm qualified and you're willing to go up to what I'm qualified for, I'm going to come here with what I'm qualified for, and this is what you're going to pay me.
I think from our mindset, for the qualifications that we wrote that we want to have is what we wrote the salary range for. So that's.
So you'll get so how it works is that when you look at these kind of positions is that you look at that salary range for really looking at what's your level expectations, and you'll get a different pool of candidates if you have it at 135 to 165 versus if you have it at 120 to 155. And what you want to do is if you want to have and to be honest, look at Keokuk. We don't have a finance director. We have some financial issues, like severe issues. You're going to want to have somebody that looks at this and is going, well, is this worth my time or not? And you're just going to have a different level of candidate pool if you have a higher lower end.
It was also pointed out that we don't have in-house HR. So if we could bring somebody in that has a little bit of experience with that, we have to think about that long term. That was brought up as well.
Sounds like we're trying to put all of our eggs in one basket, though, is the problem. We have a lot of different people that, there's a lot of different cogs, I guess, in the wheel that we're putting on one person. We shouldn't do that. So is it possible to change some of the things we're asking them to be required for so that we can at least have the starting number just slightly lower? I'm not saying change the top number.
Then that we could just go back to what are we looking for then? We go back to the drawing board of what are we going to ask this person to specifically do, basically.
And if we're asking them to be the HR manager, 165 isn't enough. If we're asking HR, finance director, we're asking them to be 7 different positions?
Our current structure doesn't allow us to be able to pay for a financial director. Our current situation, we don't have the money for it.
We're talking about HR though now, and we're adding in things that shouldn't be
We
added
should-
into this.
Okay, we shouldn't really be talking about it, but it was just brought up that our past city administrator didn't really do that. And if that was something that this person was going to need to do. And since we don't have a person here, that's why it was suggested maybe they'll have experience in that too. So we can forget about that if you want, because I don't want to muddy it.
I do think that from discussions with Lynch Dallas, that they encourage us to use a lawyer outside of, like Lynch Dallas and somebody outside of our office for HR, for the bigger things anyway. I mean, we aren't going to go to court in a big battle with a person here that we would probably want to reach out. And so maybe HR is not even something that we even need to have on the table right now.
Right, I agree. I think we need to focus on having them the strong financial background and the other requirements that we're looking for.
I guess I'm just confused where changing the bottom number totally wrecks our chances. Just the bottom number.
I'm not saying it wrecks your chances. I'm saying is
I'm
that
ju-
they're
you know-
going to look at the structure of the city and they're going to say, okay, you don't have a finance director, you don't have anyone doing economic development, you don't have anyone doing HR currently, and you're having the city administrator, you want them to do all these things with a strong financial background. If you want those kind of things, you're going to have a higher pay starting, just because people see what's going on with the city and they're going to say, how am I going to succeed here? And I'm taking a big risk, personally.
The salaries listed during the research as well did not include the yearly raises that employees usually get. So you could pretty much look at their salary and then times it by, 3 to 5% that they're probably automatically going to get every year, and that number is going to go up higher.
Putting it to 125 or 128, it's not like 10 people who are going to hire, no, not anymore. The top number is still the same.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. It's just communicating. It does communicate something to candidates.
Okay, so we have a first, do we have a, yeah, we have a first and a second on the table. We're asking to approve the city of Keokuk profile to advertise for a city administrator position as provided by Midwest Municipal Consulting LLC and reviewed by the city's personnel committee. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
Okay, item number 9. Consider resolution awarding contract for mill and fill West Avenue from Boulevard to Gravel and North 15th Street from Concert to High Street project. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
$5 million was budgeted to repair various streets. The Public Works Department received 3 quotes to mill and fill 3 inches on North 15th Street from Concert to High. The estimated quantity is 865 square yards, and to mill and fill West Avenue to Boulevard Road, from Boulevard Road to the gravel end. This will include the intersection of approximately 30 feet back on Hawthorne Place. Estimated quantity is 1,335 square yards. The low quote was submitted by W.L. Miller Company of Hamilton, Illinois, in the amount of $35,638 for North 15th Street from Concert to High project and $55,002 from West Avenue from Boulevard Road to the gravel end. The total of both projects is $90,640. Staff recommends approval of the contract with W.L. Miller of Hamilton, Illinois. Do we have any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10, consider resolution awarding the Walker Outdoor Services for South 18th Street right-of-way tree removal. Do I have a motion to approve? Approximately 50 trees, bushes, and stumps in the city right-of-way need to be removed prior to construction work beginning on South 18th Street. 2 bids were received, and Walker Outdoor Services of Burlington, Iowa, submitted the low bid to remove all the trees, bushes, and grind stumps. Walker Outdoor Services will haul all logs, chips, and stump grindings to a site designated by the city. Staff recommends approval of the contract with Walker Outdoor Services to remove trees, bushes, and stumps in the city right-of-way for South 18th Street reconstruction project in the amount of $22,000. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 11, council liaison reports. Item number 12, staff reports.
There we go. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, Friday, there was a water leak down to the backup line that feeds the wastewater treatment plant. The city of Keokuk owns this line. It's a 4-inch main that was installed when the flood wall was put in. It sleeved through the flood wall. It's approximately 13.5 foot deep. We did finally find the main, an idea of where the leak was at, got it isolated and shut off. Right now, that main is currently shut off. We're having a meeting tomorrow to come up with a plan on the replacement of this main. Right now, the wastewater treatment plant is fed with a 6-inch main that kind of runs down through Roquette that goes across the railroad tracks. This is their backup if that 6-inch ever goes down to keep that plant operational. So it is detrimental. We get it replaced. We've been in contact with the engineers, and we have a meeting at 10 in the morning with city staff and the engineer for a recommendation on a water line size, and then we'll come up with a plan to replace that.
And this comes out of what budget?
This will be out of the wastewater treatment plant budget.
Thank you.
Any more question for Brian? Item number 13, new business.
I'm curious about if we're going to have another budget meeting to look at revenues and how the revenues line up with our initial proposals for expenditures.
Yeah, so the schedule that we have is, I think, the April 4th meeting will go over the proposed tax levy, and then I think you couldn't schedule it before March 25th. And then recommendation after that. You can't schedule your budget hearing until that meeting, so I would like to have a meeting the following week. It's an off week, but I'd like to have the following week, go over the entire budget. We can have a hearing also then, and then we can have a hearing and approval at the regularly scheduled meeting the week after that on the 18th. And then we have to have it submitted by the 30th of April.
Thank you.
Any more discussion on that? Item number 14, I need a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Take about 5 minutes and we'll come back for a workshop.
You just can go back and watch YouTube. Ellie, I did request for it to be on the workshop. Honestly, I mean, the range is accurate. Well, I don't know.
Everybody seems to be here, so let's get started. I'm going to call to order the council workshop, March 7th, 2024. We have 2 items on the workshop agenda. Number 1 is consider realigning accounts payable position.
I'd like to propose that we actually move that to a closed session since it concerns employees and it's kind of sensitive information instead of having it here.
I don't know that we're allowed to do that. I think the employee has to ask. We wouldn't be able to talk about employees, but I'm pretty sure the employees have to ask for closed session. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So have it next meeting instead of
That's
now.
fine.
I guess so. This is my question though, is if we're talking about a position, it shouldn't really matter about the employee, should it?
No, I agree.
Part
So-
of the, part of the
It does when
conversation.
the employee's name tag is up on in front of them.
Well, only because it concerns, well, one of the employees is present and we will be talking about salaries. And
Okay then.
Oh,
So-
okay.
yes.
Then yes,
Motion to table it to next time.
second.
Thank you.
Well, we're not in a meeting anyway, so.
I think that the afterthought for this is that we want to do this the kindest way. We don't want to say anything that we shouldn't say. We don't want to say anything. There's nothing bad going on. Nobody's upset with anything. We just were afraid that somebody's name or salary would be mentioned and they would be offended. We're just trying to do it the right way.
Well, I would just make sure that we contact Lynch Dallas and make sure that we're following all the open meetings laws.
We will. We will.
I would also prefer is to have an understanding of how this position is being realigned compared to other positions that are impacted by it. That's what I would say.
Okay.
So,
All right. Item number 2, consider termination of agreement between the city and Keokuk Community School District regarding Gowing tennis courts.
So the city entered the agreement with the community, and this, in case you don't know which those are the tennis courts owned by the community school district, right there by the football field across from the Y. They entered to this agreement back in 1980. And the way it's written, the city of Keokuk is responsible for 60% of any financial responsibility to repairs, maintenance of this tennis court, which is not, in this day and age, which we have other tennis courts that we maintain and pickleball courts that we maintain. I think it's in our best interest to terminate the agreement. I've already talked to the superintendent. The school district is in favor of terminating this agreement. She had actually contacted me and I called her back. They have plans to do something there that they just as soon have sole control and not have to come to city council. So it's mutually beneficial to terminate the agreement. If council agrees, we will have city attorney draft up the letter. We'll vote on it next council meeting, and then that will be sent to the school board.
Will there still be at least 1 or 2 courts that people can play on if they want to play tennis?
The city has public courts. They're out at Tolmy Park
Oh,
and Ram
well, the
Park.
one at Rand Park isn't.
Well, I do, so I don't think this affects citizens from using the court because I think by the state requirements, the school district you have to allow, and it's up to them whether you have to call and like make an appointment or they let you walk on. I'm pretty sure the track they let you walk on and use and run whenever you want, so. But they're more concerned, they want the surface is not in good shape on these courts, and they want to redo that and kind of implement into their complex plan that they're doing with the football field and Calvert Stadium.
I would say draft the letter for the next city council meeting.
All right, thanks.
Any more discussion? Then workshop is over. We can all go home.